Yeah.
So we are live. Good evening. My name is Sarah Rahman. Good morning and good evening. My name is Sarah Rahaman Shaikh and I'm an English honor student of Rani Billa Girls College under Calcutta University. So this morning and evening, depending on the respective time zone, I consider myself very privileged to be in the company of author Shuchi Batra, who has just released her latest romance fiction titled You Belong With Me. And today we will get to know more about the book. Shuchi Batra is a poet and novelist from India. She has been writing poems since she was 8 years old and has a dedicated poetry page on Instagram with over 90K followers. She has written more than 1,000 micro poems to date and believes that words not only express emotions but also relieve oneself from pain and help move on from undesirable life situations. Her first novel, A Million Times Over, is a unique love story told in the form of poems. It was published in 2021 and became an Amazon bestseller. It also received positive reviews from social media influencers, magazines, and national newspapers. Her goal is to become India's best-selling author with her innovative and expressive style of writing. Suchi is a banker by profession and an MBA graduate from the Indian Institute of Management, Indore. She is currently settled in USA with her husband. Now, before we dive straight in and begin our conversation, please allow me to reiterate that we are accepting registrations for our project, story project and online creative writing workshops. Please visit www.tellmeyourstory.biz and register on time because we do not extend our deadline. So, proceeding with the session, ma'am, I would like to ask you the first question.
Yeah, sure.
Ma'am, your first novel, A Million Times Over, is a unique love story told in the form of poems. Please tell us about this book. And we are especially intrigued because storytelling through poems has been in the ancient culture of India, and various eras have presented diverse experimental formats. How did you begin?
So I started writing poetry from a very young age, and then on and off, on and off. But in year 2021 was the time when my friend actually told me to start posting on the Instagram and to just see that whether people also like my content or not. So year 2021, I started my Insta page. I also experimented with my with different style of my poetry. Sometimes I would put long poems. Sometimes I would put like small, depending upon 8 to 10 lines and all. And then through hit and trial, I figured out that when I'm putting a story or a poetry in the form of just 4 to 5 lines, but of course it has to make sense, I was getting a lot of love, appreciation, engagement. So then I figured out that maybe because people's attention span is so limited in today's era, maybe this is what is needed. This is what they can, I can present to them and they will appreciate it. So there I started this unique journey of becoming a micro poet, and I started putting content, micro poem worth 4 to 5 lines, nothing more than that. And it was appreciated. And then a lot of people told me that whenever we read this poetry, we feel so nice, the emotions are so genuine and raw. And to be honest, I had written this novel in year 2013, and but I never published it. And it was written in the form of prose. But then when I started my Insta page and when I connected with people, readers, they told me that why don't you write something where you can have like multiple poetries. It should not be just bits and pieces, multiple. So there I came up with an idea to rework on my novel. And then I revamped everything from the scratch. I took some inspiration from what I had written, but then I started writing the poetries. When 80 to 100 poems were there, I started building the words around that, some prose, and in no time a novel was created. And that's how A Million Times Over was was generated.
That's so wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing such a beautiful process. Uh, Ma'am, your Instagram is a marvelous collection of micro poems. How did that journey begin, and how did you establish a strong bond with the Insta audience? Now, I'm especially asking this because, just like you said, today is the time of less attention span, and many say that generation seeks quick reads. So, how does an imagery, idea, or sensitivity create an impact with when the word count is so limited?
Yeah, so what used to happen was, because I was doing a lot of hit and trials, I also thought that okay, let me just so what how it started, I started posting 4 to 5 lines of a longer poetry. And so that's got love and affection. Then I thought, okay, let me not put small micro poetries from a longer poem, let me express a small story in 4 to 5 lines. So when I started, it was very difficult because 4 to 5 lines, it is like limited characters, you have to put in emotions and words. So then what would happen, I would write what I want to express is in, let's say, nine lines or 10 lines. Then after I will leave it for some time, then I'll revisit it again, and I will try to see how I can concise it even more. And then with these things practice, it happened that I was able to create a unique micro poetry in less than 4 or 5 lines. And to be honest, I felt it was very natural. Like, it was not something that I had to put a lot of efforts into doing that. It was just then my brain shifted towards creating such art where I want to express emotions in limited words. So that happened. And in 2021 only, I started my Instagram channel. And I did not know what is themes, like the theme of the page should be there, or aesthetics. I just started posting on like random chart papers or diary entries or on email black surface. Then somebody, so when, and in that also I got 25,000 followers in less than 3 months or 4 months. But then one of the followers, I would say appreciator, he told me that, you should talk with someone like a social media manager or anyone who can help you create an aesthetic vibe to your profile, because you have the talent, you have the words, you are hitting the right chord. But what is lacking is the theme of the page. And I was still like very shocked, like what is theme of the page. But then I got in touch with one person, his name is Rudra, and he created, so I would give him my poetries, and he created such a brilliant aesthetics added. He used Canvas app and several other apps, and he posted my content on those beautiful uh, image, like he added some beautiful imageries and designs. And that's how we figured out a specific theme of our page. So this theme, I would totally give credit to Mr. Rudra.
That's amazing, ma'am. So, obviously, it had a challenging journey, but I think your ardent commitment to your passion what created this beautiful empire, which is loved by so many.
Yes.
Um, Now, please tell about your new book, You Belong With Me. How did the story reach you and your writing memories?
So it was also, so after 2021, when my book came out a million times over, at that time I used to live in Dubai. And that was my first book. I didn't do a lot of promotions or anything. It was just available on Amazon. And a lot of people thought that it was the end of my journey, because it's like, because I'm not a full time author, or I do not have any degree in that line. I'm a banker, I have 2 MBAs. I recently moved to the US to get another MBA. And then I'm currently working in a bank. So everyone thought that okay, maybe it was just an interest, a one time thing. But then when I saw that people were loving my book, I would get such heartwarming messages, DMs, and the rating was nice, and there were reviews on Amazon, Goodreads, and everything. So then I thought, okay, maybe I can create more stories to this universe, because like to the universe of a million times over. So I took a male character, his name is Siddharth, and that was going at the back of my mind. But 2022, 2023 were literally very tough years because I had to move to the US. I was doing my MBA, and as an international student, you can imagine the stress of finding a job on an international visa. So once everything got settled, I was in a very stable place. Then I thought that, okay, now is the time when I can create a story. So some of the stories were going out in my mind because during my last years in Dubai, I was living in different hotels. I had given up contract of my house because I thought that I didn't want to be in a position where if I get an admission in US, I don't want to cancel the lease and it would be financially it won't make sense. So I was just hopping the hotels, and there I met a very good now she's a very good friend of mine. Her name is Ella. She's from Jordan, and I listened to her story, and that inspired me, her love story, her family, her journey. And I had this Siddharth in my mind from million times over. So I thought, let me create using my imagination a story, and that's how this book came into. So if you see the main character of the book, her name was supposed to be Ella, but because it's a bit cosmopolitan name, we changed to Alia. But it is the story, like a lot of similarities can be seen between my actual best friend Ella and this lady Alia. And Siddharth, because I had already developed his character in the first book, but that was not enough because it was his first love story. But then I inspired because I had said that this guy is a banker. He's in Dubai, and I was a banker. I was in Dubai, so I used a lot of stuff from my personal life, my experiences, to create the character of this person. And then I had a lot of life experiences and so many stories I had, so I mixed everything and created this book.
And I went through your Insta page, and I did find that in the book, there's story, but at the same time there are verses, and at the same time there is like illustrations, which is again so unique and very attractive. So even maybe might be there a few non-readers, but it might even attract to them.
Yeah. So illustrations were also there in my first book. The difference between these two books is that the first book had a lot of poetries, lesser prose. But when the reviews were coming, and there were a lot of people who told that this was a very light romantic read, and we were so engrossed that we didn't even know when it got over. So they told that we want more, like add more prose to it or add little drama to it, so that it becomes a lengthier read. So then in this I had tried to incorporate everyone's thought process and feedback, and then I added more prose. Poetries are there, like within every chapter there could be two or three poems surrounded by that, but there is a lot of drama in the book that was not in the first book.
So amazing. Now, given that you are settled in the USA now, how does your story with Indian characters create space for the audience beyond India? We are not talking about the marketing or distribution of the book. Please tell us about the scope of audience connect across cultures.
So, to be honest, I actually very consciously decided to launch this book in an Indian continent, Indian subcontinent. Like we are looking for distributing it in Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and all. And what I wanted to see was, because this story, first, I'm an Indian, I have Indian roots, and I have only seen love stories of Indian people mostly, right? So it is very easy for me to connect with Indians. Also, my Instagram page, it has like almost 90% people are in from India. So that was my first intent, to actually establish myself as an author, or as someone who can write in India first. And then once I have some kind of brand, then probably later I can relaunch my book in other parts of the world. So that's the plan. So let's hope that after 4 to 5 months, if this book becomes successful, I hope, and then we would be looking into expanding into different areas, and maybe we can change the cover pic so that it can connect with their domestic audiences.
All the best, and I'm pretty sure it will do great actually. When I'm intrigued to buy one. um, in your new book, You Belong With Me, what kind of India or Indians would your readers get to experience? What are some of the beautiful aspects of the country which show up in your novel? And personally, what are the things that you love most about India?
So I am in love with India. I am from Delhi, and I had till now I would have visited 30 countries, but Delhi has my heart. And I always keep on telling my husband that whenever we retire, I want to move back to Delhi, because I grew up there. That is the city that is like closest to my heart. But this story, because I always knew that this story, I wanted to also attract international audience. So I did not have a back setting in India. The character Siddharth is an Indian, and this girl is from Jordan, but they met in Dubai. So there is not specific things that I have added that will show the beauty of India. But you will see Jordan is a little bit of Jordan, but more of Dubai. And because this person wants to go to the US for his MBA, so you can see some of the cities being discussed, like New York, San Francisco, LA, in the book. But yes, India, I will say I haven't described India. But if you are an Indian and if you will read the book, you will actually understand that how Indian Siddhartha is, because the way he loves his mother, the way he is so ambitious, he wants to make his mother proud, and his ties with the family, and his thought process, his emotional, the character development. So you will understand that, okay, he has to be an Indian.
That's so beautiful, and obviously, it has such a taste of Indianness in the book. Um, Now, ma'am, going to the next question. Modern technology often pushes us in self centered corners where we are happy being left alone with our mobiles. In such a scenario, does such romance continue to thrive where two people choose to be with each other over everything else? How did you see romance evolving with the contemporary generation, and how does your book represent romance?
So I am very romantic. I am a hardcore romantic lover. While growing up, I used to think that when I'll grow up, I'll go on the roads, I will dance like how they show heroines doing that. So I even I am in that generation. I'm a millennial, and while growing up, I remember in my 20s, a lot of things had come up, like Facebook, Insta, WhatsApp. And I used to be on these platforms like 24/7. My phone would be always in my hand, even though if I'm preparing for cat or GMAT, come what may. Once I remember I was in office, and I would be in my 25, 26 years of age. My boss literally had to take my phone and keep it in his drawer, because I was so addicted. And that was the time when I had recently started my Insta page. Okay. And that was the time when I would be posting the content. So it used to be that, oh my God, how many likes I got, how many, what's the comments, what are the people saying, and all that stuff. So I have also seen that. But I personally believe that a human cannot, phone cannot, or the social media cannot take the place of a human. Even if you are addicted, or even if you feel that watching the reels or stories will give you, of course it gives a sudden rush, but that's it. If you have a genuine problem, if you want something to discuss, there you need a human, right? On social media you don't have anyone. Like, I can make millions of online connections, but then the real connection is when you know someone, when you spend some, sorry, when you spend some moments with them, when you create an emotional bond with them. And for that you have to leave the social media part. So I do believe that this social media has become a large part of our day to day lives, but still, people who want to fall in love will eventually fall in love. Like, I do believe that when that someone special will come, the phone will be replaced.
That's amazing, ma'am. Thank you so much for such a great answer. Please tell us about your resettling experience. How have your friends, colleagues, or others around you in the US contributed to your writing journey? Also, tell us how you bonded with your publisher and the editorial journey of the book.
Yeah, so in the US, this is my first job in the US. I live in Las Vegas, but the people over here in my bank are like amazing. The best is my boss who supported me throughout. Like, this time also, we had a lot of deadlines going on and lots of meetings were scheduled, but because he knew that I had to travel to India before 31st March due to some visa restrictions, he just supported me. And we were also going through a difficult period in my team where some people resigned, and we were in the process of bringing someone on board. So it was literally me handling everything. But then my boss stepped up and he told me, it's okay, we will manage, we will get you a backup for 2 weeks. You just go and just enjoy, focus on your book tour, and make us proud. And throughout that 2 weeks, so I was not for 2 weeks, for 12 days, because I also thought that I need to work here also. There were lots of things that I needed to manage here as well. But there were people who stood up and told, we will become your backup. Because there were, my team had 3 people, and some issues happened that I am rehiring all those people. So then a lot of people said that we will become the backup, just explain to us. And there were like always available email support. My boss constantly used to email me telling, don't freak out about the work, it's all good here, just focus on the tour. So that, and I have a very good friends, and they would always cheer me up. They would always say, oh, this book will do so well, then I think you won't be a banker. So, like, after some time, so when it becomes a movie, hire us. So it is a very, very supportive place, which I feel is very important, because I spend 10 to 12 hours daily there. So if I and this writing is my passion, my journey. Okay, so sometimes during the work hours also, if I'm free, I used to edit my manuscript while going to the meeting room and all, because I feel that okay, there is time, I can do that. So I had like full support of my team. And this is very crucial, and my family also played a very, very important role in this process. My husband was my beta reader. He read my book like 10 times. He would, every time he would tell me, these are the things that are missing, these are the loopholes you need to cover. So he has been very supportive. And my mom, that time, now she's in US, that time she was in India. My in-laws, they would always keep on texting me or calling me, and would always inquire, how's your writing journey going on. So it was very special. And my publishing journey, so this time, first time I went with a hybrid publisher, but this time I wanted to go, some I wanted to get a traditional deal or a hybrid publisher, but who has a pan India distribution, because my first book was only available on Amazon, and that's it, and nothing else. So this time I wanted. So luckily, I got in touch with New Voice Press, who publish works of new authors, and their distribution partner is Simon and Schuster. So it was also the same process where the manuscript is sent, it is read, then if it is selected, they bring you on board. So that was my editorial journey, and then throughout that journey they have a amazing editors on board. They would read, and even after I had done 10 times edit, they made me edit the book 7 more times. So like but it was good, it was amazing, because while writing you can be biased. You can think that no, the story will move like this, and maybe I would not be focusing on several other aspects. So they told me that how beautiful this woman is, or how she looks, how her eyes are, but then add that visualization imagery in doing character development. So that was missing, that was very important, so I added that, and that beautifully came out in the book. When people are reading, they can actually feel, oh, this is how Alia looks like, or this is how Siddharth looks like. So there were so it was amazing, it was.
So great, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing such beautiful insights and a little, peek to your journey. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, as we draw the curtains on today's session, my sincere appreciation goes out to our esteemed guest for offering invaluable insights on writing and publishing. Now, before we part ways, a friendly reminder that registration are open for our story project and online creative writing workshops, the details of which can be viewed on www.tellmeyourstory.biz. We will come back to you soon with another engaging discussion very soon. Until then, I extend my good wishes for a pleasant evening to everyone in India and a vibrant day to everyone in the US. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.